make myself believe it. This night will never go. Myself believe it. This night will never go.
Hi, I'm happy to be here to read for the Poetry Project, a place I love that has given me so much and gave me one of my first poetry communities. And I'm deeply grateful for it, and I want to just celebrate and support them in any way that I can. I'm going to read one poem from my new manuscript, which is titled One Mint One. And it's after thinking through Barnett Newman's One Mint series. And the title is One Mint, and then it's not the number one, but WON, one. And I'm going to read a poem titled A 1-1, which is a one, and that's the number one with WON. A 1-1. In it, I found that the political discourse would love its ethical moon, a wonderment, a one sum, bewitching affinities built upon antinomies, abstract, an expression, a wool cap of ornament for the sake of weather. Loving him helpless anew helped, loving her helplessly anew helped, leaving it all behind helplessly helped. Building around the moribund became a kind of blessing. I left constituents around the number one, and I won, and I felt simple or glad, or finally incandescent and comfortably large in my honesty, a kind of hanging of the rituals, the clothes, the sense of living in them upright. I felt trouble pinging from my thumb muscles, but I ignored the throb. I looked out and out into a dense and driven fog and said goodbye to its flavor. I said goodbye to more than 10 years of saying, will you please love me? I wanted to birth a kind of abstract expressionism of the merely objective and the racialized lover of things. One mint or ornament, or I won an ornament, or I loved an ornament, and the one mint of myself resolved. I resolved, and thus I became into myself, a one that I thought would never be allowed, and I moved outside of the fog, into a place that signified art. Thank you so much to the Poetry Project. Please support them. They bring our communities together. They love in the spirit of poetry, and we need them. desperately.
One afternoon, I believed I could be a dancer, so thusly went to the garden to set up my tripod and try my damnedest. Turns out I could not. Still, all day I practiced at my new craft. When neighbors asked, I called it my practice. When my practice called, I clawed at the grasses. Clearly, there are no choreographers in this garden. Only tripods shaped like trillium, only a dress that fits like a clergyman's robe. Just above the mycelium kingdom's honeybee's throat flower scrotum, what's buried below the garden, though, is our garbage, is what poisons the lemons, what renders the vegetables inedible. It's true. Anyone can dance, how anyone can sing, how anyone can make themselves a poem. One afternoon, I believed I too could become a garden, so thusly ate garbage men and made many lemons, thusly shook my little dance like a dying bee in flower heat. I recorded me and wrote page upon page on how awful it was to see my body in motion. As a child, I had no body. I loved my neighbor and worked all day in her garden, holding water, pulling water. Even at that age, I knew to call pleasure work. Then, something started growing in her brain. I haven't put my hands in the earth since. So go ahead, you little faggot. Keep smelling the dead's flowers. Keep on flowering for your dead.
Hi, it's always been a dream of mine to be a part of the Poetry Project New Year Marathon, but I've always had to be at home in Singapore, so I'm really glad to be here with everyone today. I'm going to read a little bit from a new piece I've been working on. It's an excerpt that is about the news. In some ways, we ourselves had become the news, yet we knew nothing. Because the news brought death, and death is like that. It came to us from everywhere. Friends suffocated in buildings with fraying electricity or starved by cities they were unable to afford. People lost their jobs, parents lost their homes. Death came as we got sick, and healthcare was a bureaucratic maze, offered us even less than what we could give each other. Private jets tore through the ozone to places where water was so aqua it seemed inhuman, like nothing we had ever seen apart from on Netflix or in Animal Crossing. To be honest with ourselves was to know that death had come to us even before the fires started, had come to us in music noxious with tear gas and nostalgic with Southern Californian resentment, sprouted from the rhythms of rubber bullets we dodged in the street. We all knew those who had given them hell and suffered, found dead in cars, stepped off the roof, giddy off of what was unreal, suspended in the liminal gray of carceral torture, wrung dry by the rigged state. Death continued coming, and some amongst us began looking within ourselves, searching for what might have existed before it. Some secret interior part unstained by the death that we too invariably spread to everything we touched because of the way the world had stiffened around us. Power was vast and uneven. These amongst us hated it but couldn't make it stop. Instead, we judged no one, shared what we could, tried to share everything from TikTok videos to groceries to PDFs. Tried to share a time, like, does she send her thoughts to me, or do I send my thoughts to her? Either way, it is not necessary for either of us to speak. Try to make a time. Like when we both think it is 10 o'clock and it is in fact 11:30, we are both not perceiving reality but invoking a different blessed dimension, friendship, to linger in the glow of a shared 11:30 a.m., salty fever of a tweet chain, rage externalized in a flashbang, to carve a single stolen moment outside of capitalist or crossroll logics. Something more daring and functional than hope. It was like this that in our time, we found ourselves able to forget about the news. We knew it hadn't stopped coming and that we were still a part of it, but we no longer thought of it. We didn't need it anymore. We didn't need to refer to the news by name or shake our heads helplessly in response to its onslaught. We had simply begun to perceive the movements of the world differently, intuitively, like how one knows the shape of a loved one's face by the stroke of a palm over the bridge of their nose when the sun is too hot or high to see them clearly. Death continued coming. It was fluid and familiar. We did not accept it. We moved alongside it as much as against it. Life was no longer what happened to us or around us, but a rotten structure whose beams and boughs we plunged our hands into intimately and could not deny. We were drenched in its stasis together, a sting impossible to clean. Strangely, the less we relied upon the news, the smaller our world became. But it wasn't some shrunk oblivion. What we found was space. Like an empty bedroom, its blankness was shockingly wide, so we filled it together, with the detritus of bonds and information shared, imperfect, tangled, worn. Filled it with smiling, infectiously spread into laughter, and resentment barbed and surfaced in moments of exhaustion. We held the room open not in accordance with any rigid ideological scaffold, but as a place to help each other live, each of us holding it differently, with the pleasure of being touched by a friend, or anger cut deep from a lover's grief. We couldn't hold the space as a single body. To form one felt impossible. Nonetheless, we fed each other here, against the soft uncertainty around us. I mean, what was left to do but this? To turn tinny and reactive, to forge no weapon but each other. I mean, it was something, but it wasn't enough. Thank you.
This one is for my daughter, Dominique. You enter power, but I am here before you, standing in what's left of grace on this planet, the bits shored up to form a circle of light. I cannot abdicate, even for you. Come, join us. You enter womanhood. I am a woman, to greet you, invest you, praise you. There are oils for your skin, your hair. I have not grown old suddenly before your eyes, have not the courtesy to be decrepit, small, in the wind at my back and yours. I have dances still to dance. Do you dance? How the lights dance in you, eyes and skin, and brights of your hair. How your anger dances. See how my skin, like yours, takes on its sheen after lovemaking. See how we glow. The circle, which is a spiral, stretches out to the star of Isis. It is the stare of light. In the upper parts glow the grandmothers, laughing. The ancestress reaches her hand to draw us up. She is white vulture with spiral neck. These years are the windings of light. Our flesh flickers and changes like flame. Like flame, it holds us fast.
Hello, campers. I'm Annie.
And I'm Beth.
And this is our dog, Butch. And we are here in a magic garden.
Right on the edge of the Pacific Ocean.
And it's very windy.
And sexy.
We're having wind play right now.
Yes, we are.
And so we would like to share with you
25 ways to make love to the earth. Number 1, tell the earth I love you and I can't live without you.
Number 2, you might be a little bit embarrassed to be lovers with the earth. I know it's weird, but let that shit go. It's okay.
3, spend time with her.
4, ask her what she likes, wants, and needs, and then try and give it to her.
5, massage the earth with your feet.
6, admire her views often.
Circulate erotic energy with her.
Sing to him.
Smell him.
Taste him.
Touch her all over.
Hug and stroke their trees. Talk dirty to her plants.
And then swim naked in his waters.
You can lay on top of him or let him get on top of you.
And then do a new dance for her.
Sing to him.
Kiss and lick her.
Bury parts of your body deep inside their soil.
And then plant your seeds in him.
20, love her unconditionally, even when she's angry or cruel, because the earth can be a really cruel mistress, and there is no safe word.
So keep them clean and please recycle.
22, work for peace, because bombs really fucking hurt.
23, if you see the earth being exploited, abused, or raped, protect him as best you can.
24, protect her mountains, waters, and sky. 25, vow to love, honor, and cherish the earth until death brings you closer together forever.
Hi everyone, I'm Deshpande, and I'm going to read 2 short poems. This first one is called Clarification. The weeds were yellow, they were not gold. The road was not a boulevard, was not of rain-slipped stone. I thought of these lines while waiting on a subway platform. It did not happen in the dream. That day of intense thought in the park was in fact several days, vague and riddled with distraction. I rarely looked at the river. She was lying on her stomach, not on her side. What occurred was drunken, fumbling. It was not making love. Darkness, when it came, was less musical than has been suggested. Silence also. There was no silence. No remembered cigarette. Most trees I didn't notice. The ones I did, I couldn't name. Morning happened every day. It had no essence. It was not the envelope for certain effects. The world existed, but not outside the room. That device is facile. The world was and is everywhere, which is why I could not look at it. Henceforth, I will not mention water. Maybe there was a sheet of paper. Yes, there was a sheet of paper. I can leave it there. And the second poem is called Sonnet Written Walking Under the Mess Some Magnolia Made. Even with my nose up here at 6 foot something, I know the color brown is sweet. This putrescence embarrasses no one. The petals, treacly vessels jangling overhead yesterday have taken a hint and gone down into the real grit of things. Where better than the sidewalk to speak achingly? I could go on. I'd say love makes us amenable to certain minor, probable disasters. But what I mean by love is spring, overeager and almost enough to make me wake up and like the insides of my mouth a little more. The petals talking vivid now. They say, finish your work and come back to us. We want to be nearest. We know which of our atoms were once in you who are a flower machine, who are a blossom for meaning, the scent of sweeter senders, the slobberiest part of the kiss. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Poetry Project. Happy New Year.
A cadence of seasons, like music. The third spring was poppies and riots. I was without you and I tried to write a sentence long enough to get there, to slip like a ribbon underneath your door, tie itself on your bedpost so you saw I called when you woke up. The third spring was thunder and privilege. A chasm had opened in the earth and there was nothing I could do to fix it, and so I became preoccupied with the little dents, trying to push them out with my reason, with my sour kindness, which I thought was good culture. My kindness is probiotics, my kindness is sandpaper. My kindness is a busted up can of Prego when you have 1117 in your account. My kindness is a ledge to sit on for a minute till the cops come. My kindness is a futon with a weird stain when all your options are spent and the park is full up. My kindness is rain on a beach day in a drought. My kindness is a mother. My kindness is an alien in Boulder, Colorado. The third spring was overheated patios and mass incarceration, gingham and distraction, a yellow fly swatter in the feds, dinner time and the fucking cops and more cops, the dead and our grief, a dream and an awakening, a sleep and a deeper sleep, a tired explanation and a hungry frustration, paralysis and an encounter with guilt. The ones that were already here waiting for us while we come up, fully rested, acting like it's new. There are no nations, only reenacted childhoods. We lament and argue and dye our hair and disagree on tactics and still love each other in the morning, wanting the other to be alive, to stay alive, to have a pink convertible, to rub glitter in our rolls, to fall on the floor laughing from our fresh and genderless cunts, deep joy from our pelvic ground, this Eastertide abundance, a new insurgence. The pillar of fear, a biblical salt that holds our back straight, is melting in this triad of seasonal duplication. We sweat and imagine our rubbing thighs are one another's, past summers in this endless spring. Winter is canceled this year, and the ribbon has been returned to sender, arriving by mail after some time. This long sentence in my hands, crumpled and thinly worn. One end dropped in mud and stitched into the glossless underside, it says, "Come home." The moon, wind-picked and clean, at the top of the hill looking, I tried to take a picture, but it's just the void when I do. A cross-pollination of emptiness, histrionic refraction in the shapely tracing of complicated limbs at twilight. My eyes glass over, in suffocation. Winter is canceled this year. There has been enough shell shock and stinging, exposed skin, gaseous weather in our ducts, and masked lungs. Enough for many seasons. The minute you disperse a crowd, you have a sentence. But it was just us, for days and months in the hull of a ship, marooned on a mountainside. Two suns resisting the other's orbit, assimilating the other's grammar, our parallel clauses, our punctuated trine. The light rarely differed, a cream silence that tasted like icing or yeast. We had made a life that did not exist except through careful maths, our calculations the last sustained note of a concerto. Like the ones you've seen on YouTube. An empty theater for acoustics and the musicians, breathing, together, again soon.
Silhouetta of crushed lipstick and mum petals. I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid I was naked, so I hid.
After the messenger's speech, the vehement sun of it, gold, red, chromium.
I was naked because I was afraid, I said to myself. Vox gone hidden in the imbecile garden. In the traffic, I hid me.
The long century of it, sentence of indefinite detention.
Fear smells mineral, petroleum, sumac, rain-lustered. I drink the drams from its awe-silvered limbs.
And how many breaths you can absent under the 12th technique.
I heard your voice, purpling like bellies of Peruvian bloods at various depths in soil, away from.
The blank totality of it eclipses Simon's intention to witness something.
Artificial lights, how they leave the leafy night looking icy in unfinished colors. I heard you say magenta. 3 syllables swarming out the voice box.
She wrote me, the formulation of the body returns as proof in this force drift of or through the metastasis sun, weapon grade bronze.
The swarm brings back no mauvish, cyan, crimson to your sightline, but some TV snow.
And yet,
a needle dragging skin dust along the vinyl grooves. Music acquires you in iotas.
Abolish something, starting with the school of the Americas.
As static, I heard you whirling round the vinyl dark, round and round.
Abolish the fire that never sets, nor relents. Abolish, graffitied all over the post-war city.
Adrenaline alters the hide, hair. I was afraid of the paradise in my ear.
In Brumaire, she sent the blue notebook. On the cover, she wrote, "There is no post-war city."
Rise of Skywalker. The moment we locked eyes, I knew the things that we would fight about. You're locked away as ice level, carved my way in. Stormwater, I was warned. The undertow, the rip. No right ship dares to take this on. I do. You get inside my head. You take from me whatever little things I hold. My hard-earned winnings, all my energy, my time, my pain, all end up in your grip. Promise me information. Tell me again how deep you think you know me. Follow me everywhere I go. Say it's because you care. In space there is no oxygen, but there is water. The water turns to ice. In space there is no air, but we still run. Victorious with horses. I run away knowing that you will find me. In joy, in celebration, in community, and mission, ice tendrils down my neck, and there you are. Say it again. I'm just like you. I turn towards that residence. Stormwater crashes, soaking both of us, a slippery wreck. Historic violence and us inside of it, caught up in the dance. I land a killing wound, then backtrack. Show you kindness like an idiot. All I keep now are questions up at night and my pocket of space in your mind's eye. The moment we locked eyes, I knew the things we'd fight about. I didn't know the rest. That's why I stayed. Cauterized redemption arc. If it is possible to kill only the bad parts, would this excision come back perfect and forgiven? If it is possible for that debt to be paid in full, to heal, you asshole, what I wouldn't give. Joyce, etc., after Octavia Butler's Imago. Too much time creeping around rock bottom makes you see thing, mollusk without legs or eyes. Without human lovers, error regressed to glob, undid itself. Without lovers, could not hold itself together. The inner bonds dissolve like social bonds. The organism cannot make itself cohere.
As an uncountable brigade of tiny islands. We are lush islands. Can I let my rivers through? And if your forest roots choke on my poison, isn't it almost like we're together? It might be a little less easy.
Always does this. Deflecting everything so that he can avoid any responsibility by making the conversation about what is going. The other day, I described what happened in his own words. Laughed like I had said something. It was at that point I must have clearly brigade or something. Before I even had the chance to say anything, he became visibly irritated and went on a tirade about how one could never own words.
Lush islands.
Like air, words just exist around us, crocheting or depositing together and sure, we can tug at a thread here or there, plucking words out and rolling them around.
And if your forest roots choke
from one mouth to the
on
next,
my poison,
isn't it
almost like we're
so I said that would explain
together?
why his butt smelled of grave dirt, and he just covered his mouth. And
It might be.
This is a poem called Paraphilia. It's for TJ. To learn the nature of my affliction, I contact one who hears the music of the spheres, and learn that Lilith lies with Pluto while Uranus spies upon them, and that I was born to exchange a certain darkness with you. You in whom a tenderness unfurls, not unlike stop-motion film of a black dahlia blooming, my cunt in your thrall. I imagine entering a forest primeval, drifting into a metaphor for every luscious fear and power, where I am every fluff-tufted fawn, every bustled maiden hobbled by femininity, stalked by a glamour, witch as hag, god as swan, true prince as executioner. An apple jammed into my jaw, my heart in a box. Just to think it calls a rogue wave to curl its fist. You have turned me topographic. Ribbons rise a scarlet tributary along my thighs. A trail of crumbs skips up my ribs. Roses thorn my throat. To be ornamented as a tree full of trinkets. To be so garnished, a platter of meat. To be laid out beneath your wish and appetite. All hail whatever dark goddess built me in her image, and all hail Satan or whoever made you, and all hail the apocalypse that soldered the joining. All hail unsolved mysteries and bowls of grapes. All hail the fallen cans of LaCroix kicked over in passion. All hail the killers, in particular the clown, the lover of doll women, the children, the real. All hail the dark parking garage, the dumb sexy girl, the smart sexy girl. All hail the formative horror. All hail the creeps, the chocolate stamped with children, the latent taxidermist, the cannibal. All hail the gold on your finger, the scrawl of your skin, the heat of your breath in my mouth, the scroll of your story lashed in your chest, the twine in my teeth and I pull.
Happy New Year Poetry Project. My name is Vernon Joyce. I'm going to be reading a couple poems. A poem in which I do no work. As a couch jewel, I deserve a blanket. Chess has helped me manage the erratic illusion of strategy or planning or expertise or giftedness or win-lose instead of die, live with the terrible gnawing ache of the hours. They're trying to bore me out. They're winning. I'm living with the terrible gnawing ache of the hours. They have names. Tide, original, powder, cotton mop, mint jewel pod, house speaker, edible on the end table, Kelly Blue Book instant cash offer. Only the rich get all 4 seasons, the unemployed just get Spring 2020. Next week, I'll do nothing different. Perhaps nothing at all. The highlight of this week was getting my hemorrhoids examined. Being unemployed rules everyone. Should do it. The only thing the dead are good for to a fascist is voting. The newspapers draw a border around the dead. As the world gets more expensive, the people get cheaper. I do not name my dead. The boys I flirted with while they beat me. The girls who played connect the dots with my freckles with a box cutter. The doorman or the line cook or the canvasser. Even in death, they had jobs to name them. I tried to name them without their violence, polite redactions, policy choices. I try to demystify their mystical functions and classifications. When I am dead, do not name me. In relation to capital, I will be wageless and worthless and perfect. I try to name the scar, the traces, the space from my thumb knuckle to my trigger knuckle, Jasmine, but it disappears until it's a story without evidence. The skin pinches into a divider. One side of my hand belongs to a ghost. My hand 2 hands now. My hand a function of haunting. All of this capital haunting my hands, a function of naming in a place of skin. The din of your makeup hour I haunt in grief. My bed 2 beds now. My hands in my bed. Your hands in my bed. No borders in this life or the next.